Freaky Fright-Seed American Pickers star Frank Fritz leaves creepy detail in window of $155,000 Iowa farmhouse as he lives in assisted living. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. American Pickers star Frank Fritz has left a creepy detail in the window of his $155,000 LeClaire, Iowa farmhouse as he continues to recover from a debilitating stroke in an assisted living facility. Frank, 60, owns a two-bedroom, one-bathroom farmhouse that sits on 79 acres of land, along with a barn, shed, and garage. In exclusive photos obtained by the U.S. Sun, a creepy detail could be seen in the window of the 1,660-square-foot home. In the photos, Frank appears to be smiling while staring out of a side window of his home. He seems to be squinting in the photos as if he's looking out at the sun. But it isn't actually Frank, as it is a cutout of the star's face. To drivers and neighbors, it may look like Frank is peeking out his window. But Frank isn't home, as he remains in assisted living after suffering a stroke in July 2022. Road to Rico v. Eerie. The U.S. Sun previously reported Frank remains in an assisted living facility to help with physical therapy, as he continues to have a long road to recovery ahead. Frank lost verbal and mobile, so that's where he has been. He is still in an assisted living facility, a source close to Mike Wolfe, Frank's former co-star on the show, claimed. The insider continued to allege that while Frank got his verbal back, working on mobility has been a struggle for the star. It's been very difficult for him to find motivation. He found the motivation to talk, but the physical therapy he's not there yet, the source claimed. But a second source close to Frank's loved ones claimed he is taking the recovery at his own pace. He's been working really hard to not overdo himself and stress himself out and honor his health, the second insider said. He's not overdoing it and trying to prove anything to himself. He's honoring what needs to be right now. He's just at the nursing home for physical therapy. I hope he bounces back. I have faith he will. Medicial Cry says. Frank was hospitalized for a stroke on July 14, after a friend found him on the floor of his Iowa home. The U.S. Sun obtained the 911 call placed by Frank's friend from the star's Iowa farmhouse just before 11 a.m. I just showed up at my friend's house here, and he was sprawled out on his floor. He can't speak to me. He might be seizuring sick. I'm not sure, the friend said. CONSSERVATORSIP. Then on August 18, Frank's longtime friend Chris Davis filed an emergency appointment of temporary guardian and conservator for the star. In Iowa court papers obtained by the U.S. Sun, Frank remained hospitalized for a month after suffering the stroke, as he was expected to be released to a nursing facility on August 19. Because of his stroke, Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired that he is unable to care for his own safety or to provide for necessities such as food, shelter, clothing, or medical care, without which physical injury or illness may occur, the documents read. Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired that he is unable to make, communicate, or carry out important decisions concerning his own financial affairs. An exhibit was mentioned in the court papers from a doctor confirming Frank does not have decisional capacity. Decisions must be made for Mr. Fritz's care and placement while he continues to recover and receive treatment for his injuries, the legal papers continued. Appointment of a guardian and conservator is necessary to avoid immediate harm to him. The petitioner requested a separate longtime friend of Frank's, who has been assisting him in decision-making since the stroke, be his guardian. A bank would be the conservator to handle Frank's financial affairs. The conservator will pay for Frank's care in the residential facility, control his business interests, such as partnerships and companies, pay for his home and everyday living expenses, and ensure he has appropriate transportation to medical appointments and more responsibilities. Heal for struggles at home. Frank did return to his Iowa home for some time, but continued to suffer from ongoing health issues. The U.S. Sun has previously obtained 4,911 calls placed from the house, resulting in Frank being rushed to the hospital. On November 17, 2022, Frank's caregiver called 911 because he was having a seizure. She told the operator, "He just came home from inpatient rehab for a stroke. He just had a full-blown seizure, maybe more than one. He's been shaking." She then asked the operator if there was anything she could do to help him, as she was transferred to medical. On December 7, 2022, another caregiver called 911 for elevated blood pressure. "I have a 59-year-old stroke victim with elevated blood pressure," she said on the call. You could hear Frank moan in the background, as she could be heard telling him, "You have to go because your blood pressure is too high." "Oh," he replied. In the final two calls, another caregiver called 911 on December 21, 2022, for possible pneumonia. Frank's guardian then called the next day. "I'm going to need an ambulance to take someone to the hospital because I think they have pneumonia. I'm the guardian. He's handicapped. He's wheelchair-bound," he said in the call. Staying strong. In August 2023, a friend close to Frank praised the star for his progress. "Frank continues to improve daily. You're never 100% after a stroke, but he's fine. He's aware of what's going on," the pal previously told the U.S. Sun. "If he were sitting here right now, you could sit and talk to him. He's the same old Frank." Frank was wheelchair-bound after suffering the stroke and even had a ramp installed outside his Iowa home. "He can walk, but he's always going to need the wheelchair because he can't walk long distances," the friend shared. "Basically, you lose motion. He lost motion. A stroke can affect your left or your right side. It affected his right side. He's the same old Frank. He has a good attitude and a great sense of humor. His mindset is positive. We crack jokes all the time. You gotta make the best of the situation, so he's come to terms with all of that," the source continued. "His mind is right, he's a happy guy and his sense of humor is there." American Pickers. Frank last appeared on American Pickers in March 2020. He took a break from the show to undergo back surgery, but then had a falling out with longtime co-star Mike. Mike's brother, Robbie, replaced Frank on the show to join Danielle Colby. Despite their feud, the two reconciled over